Hello, my name is Nathan Blair, and today I'm going to talk to you about organizational behavior practices amongst two companies, Arterra Wines Canada and E&J Gallo Wines. Over the course of the presentation, we will go over a lot of content, such as who are Arterra and who are Gallo. Then, we will look at 3 of the 8 organizational behavior practices. Next, we will see how they demonstrate these chosen organizational behavior practices. Following that, we will look at what is ineffective and what is effective. Next, we will see some alternatives that might help the companies out, followed by our summary. Who is Arterra Wines Canada? Arterra Wines Canada is the largest wine company in Canada, founded in 1874 in Niagara Falls. It was formerly known as Constellation Brands. The company produces a wide range of wine brands including Jackson Triggs, Inniskillen, Sawmill Creek, and more. E&J Gallo Winery was founded in 1933 by Ernest and Julio Gallo during the Prohibition era. Gallo, which it's commonly known as, is one of the largest and most well-known wine producers in the world. They carry popular brands such as Gallo Family Vineyards, Barefoot Cellars, and Apothic. The company is involved in various aspects of the wine industry, including grape growing, winemaking, and distribution. Now, we will look at 3 of the 8 organizational behavior practices, starting off with the leadership and organizational settings practice. Here, we look at cultivating effective leaders who can inspire and guide their teams. Next, with power and influence, they utilize the legitimate power and the reward power, incentivizing their employees to do more with rewards. And by being legitimate, they earn the respect of all employees and leads by an example. That means going to work with them and showing them what must be done. Finally, we look at the individual differences, such as personality and values. Here, it dwells into the personality of workers, diversity and inclusion, cultural competence, cognitive styles, learning styles, and motivation and values, the things that make us us in the workplace. Let's look at how Gallo utilizes the 3 organizational behavior practices we just described. With leadership, they focus on cultivating leaders throughout the organization. That means hiring from within and promoting growth with the individual. Next, with power and influence, they utilize the legitimate power and the reward power, incentivizing their employees to do more with rewards. And by being legitimate, they earn the respect of all employees and leads by an example. That means going to work with them and showing them what must be done. Finally, we have individual differences. Gallo are open to all cultures with a focus on family values, stemming from their founders, E&J. From this, they have an understanding of the work-life balance and knows what it takes to have a healthy home life. Now let's talk about Arterra. In the leadership category, they are open-minded at seeking new help from other industries. That means not only being tied down to just people who know about wine. For power and influence, they utilize an expert power and persuasion as the source of influence. That means having a lot of knowledge on one subject and about the industry and as your job as a whole, and utilizing persuasion to get what you want from your employees. For individual differences, they are open to a lot of different cultures and nurtures hands-on learning styles. That means going out in the field and working with these employees and helping them learn by showing them. Now let's see what is effective and ineffective from both companies. With Arterra, they are effective at bringing in new ideas, having a large influence in marketing and growing share, and they are great for creating networks. This stems from the idea that they have people working for them that have multiple backgrounds. They are not tied down to any industry. However, Arterra is ineffective at maintaining turnover. They cannot find an identity as a privately owned business. By changing CEOs and having a high turnover, people don't recognize your face. They cannot steady employee morale, and that leaves room for slacking, and that hampers on their growth. Now, let's look at Gallo. They are effective at creating a recognizable identity, in part with their family values. they are considered one of the top employers of the world, and they show an ability to grow in the company, incentivizing staying around for a long time. However, they are ineffective at innovation. By not having people from multiple backgrounds, they have lacked this growth. Their family identity does not show outside the organization, as most workers are stretched thin, with big territories and not enough work to go around sometimes. Now, let's look at alternatives and solutions for Artera and Gallo. Artera needs to introduce the reward power. They can use this power as an incentive to influence and promote growth. From here, they can cultivate leaders through the organization. And by cultivating leaders, they can build an identity with the workers and then finally build one with the community outside their four walls. Now, Gallo. They need to bring in expert power from different industries to create more innovation. They've been too stagnant and have only maintained share over the past few years. They need to also add more positions to take more of a specialized approach that showcases the company's family identity and takes the load off some of the employees' shoulders. To summarize, E&J and Artera are both immensely huge companies. E&J being one of the biggest wine distributors in the world, and Artera being the biggest in Canada. Both of these companies have tons of potential to show even more of what they can do, and show what they can do for their communities as well. They both succeed at a lot, but they also have their own faults. These faults create turnover and problems amongst the company.